Well, for the people that went to Cletus Cars and did not know the status of what happened to me, as you can see in the background, we had some issues. So, right before we was getting ready to load the car up to go up to Cletus Cars in Indy, found had some noise that I did not like. Apparently, was when we were on the dyno, the pickup inside the distributor had slid off the shaft, and when it slid off the shaft, it caused the car to get out of time, and the car probably got into the detonation, which spun a rod bearing. So I started hearing the noise. After I found the distributor problem the next day, we got it cranked back up, and then started hearing that noise and started chasing it down, and unfortunately pulled the oil pan off, looked, and there was that bearing. You could tell the rod got heated up, which damaged the rod. So we're going to be upgrading the rods, going to some mainly Turbo Tough rods, and went with a 625 upgraded rod bolts. And we're also going to be going ahead and I did not have main studs in the bottom of the block. GSR blocks have main girdles, so going to be go ahead and updating that as well, and getting something a little bit stronger. So,
but as you see, I got the motor completely tore out of the car, torn down. The cylinders all look good, but I just got a brand new set of piston rings in from JE, which is nice. They come in pretty quick. Thank Pablo at Real Street Performance for getting those out to me really fast. And everything on the block actually looks good. CSS, is held up well. We're getting to do a fresh crosshatch. Hone the block here in a second. Get it ready, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting the rings back together today. As you can see here, all the pistons look good. There was nothing wrong with them. All of them look, as they were supposed to be. So, just unfortunate that the rod cap on, I think it was number 2 cylinder. Yep, it was number 2. Got heated up, and of course it damaged it. And you can see right here a little bit of a discoloration on that rod, and so that rod is trashed and not usable no more. But just keep on the process. Wanted to let everybody know why I did not make it, and hopefully this is the last time everybody sees a empty engine bay in my car. And we'll get this thing back together, because I'm sick and tired of all these parts laying on the ground, and it's only been a couple of days. Really disheartening, and ready to get back out there and race with everybody. So anyway, we'll get this thing put back together, and maybe see it fire up at the end, and may show a little bit of the details of everything going together. We're a couple days in, and as you see here, I got a fresh crank. One thing I did kind of find out, the crank got damaged just enough that it's going to have to get turned. Luckily, I've got a good friend that had one of these cranks that was fresh out of the machine shop, and I was able to get a nice GSR crank polished and ready to go. As you see here, I've already got all my rod caps. These are the new Manly Turbo Tough rod caps. They're all labeled, and we're going to kind of come over here, excuse all my mess, and I've already got all the pistons, the rings installed. They've all been filed, and all the gaps have been set. So we've got a nice crosshatch put on this, and push that down a little bit. As you can see, it's nice and pretty. So all we got to do now is we're getting ready to flip this motor over, put all the bearings into the motor, check for tolerances, and then all the tolerances are good. The thing's going back together and go back in this car. So anyway, let's get this thing back together so we can get back out the track. I just got done checking all the clearances on the motor. Rod bearings are in between 18 and 20 thousandths, which is exactly what I wanted for clearances per the machine shop. And the mains were in between 20 and 25 thousandths, so I think they're right at 23 thousandths, which gives us a little extra over OEM as well. That'll account for any harmonic changes in the crank and the higher RPM. All right, got all the rods put in, and they're all torqued to spec using the ARP lube. And so now all I got to do is put the main caps on and torque these ARP main studs down. So should have this thing on together here shortly, and so far so good. So fingers crossed this thing's going to be a ripper. All right, got the motor assembled. Got the bottom end all done. The only thing I got to do is I put the oil pan on. My gasket had a little tear in it, so either way, got everything. All the rotating assembly is back together like it should be, and everything seemed to do really well. Put your hand on each cylinder and feels like it's going to suck your hand in half. So definitely got some good vacuum on the cylinders, which is what I wanted. So anyway, one thing we're going to be doing on this thing is going to be using a skunk head gasket. Skunk head gaskets hadn't been out too long. A lot of people don't know much about them, but they claim that they will have no problem handling the power I'm going to do. So I'm going to put one through the test, and we'll know if they what they say holds true. So hopefully they do, and we're going to have some good results. And so that gives everybody another option other than the Cometics and JE Pro Seals for head gaskets. Especially some of those head gaskets are hard to get lately, and Skunk has theirs in stock, and they claim they'll hold the power just as well as the rest of them do. So we're going to give them a try and find out and show everybody the results. So if we get this thing out on the track, if you don't pop a head gasket, Skunk is also a good way to go. So anyway, we'll keep on going. We'll get the head on this thing, and this thing's ready, just about to go in the car. So we're getting close. 4 days of working on this car, everything's back together. We've went ahead and done without any fluids other than oil, and done a test, make sure there was no leaks oil wise. Compression, on all cylinders, just doing a compression test. The oil is primed. We've now got all the electronics wired up, as well as fuel primed into the system, no leaks. And as far as I know, everything is back together, and you're about to witness whether we get a first startup or a first failure. So fingers crossed. Here we go. Here we go. Well, there it goes. Successful startup. The whole car is completely back together. All the fluids are back in. Only thing I got to do is do the another heat cycle on the new engine, and change out the brake-in oil, and ready to get back out and do a fine tune on it. It already seems to need a little extra fuel just on the island and running part, a little extra compression, and very fortunate it cranked back up and started up right at first hit. And they don't always go that smooth, and fingers crossed that things continue holding together. So again, what we done on this one, Manley Turbo Tough rods with the 625 rod bolts. So that's a nice upgrade from what we had before, which was a standard H-beam skunk rod. The only other things, we went to the skunk head gasket on this one, which appears to be the same as the JE Pro Seals or Speed Factory's head gaskets. I've set them side by side, and you can't tell a physical difference. They look identical, the exact same footprint with a different sticker stuck on them. And then the other things, we done a fresh hone, new rings, and yeah. Added a little bit of extra clearances for higher RPM and higher horsepower than we used to run before. But car is back together and ready to go. So thank you for watching as always. Let's hope this car gets out there and finally does its 9-second time slip, and see everybody at the track. Happy racing.